Well, good morning, everybody. I'm very happy to have you here and that it was possible to arrange for a Zoom meeting this morning. I would like to take the opportunity in this Zoom session to focus on Google Forms. It's an interesting element of blended learning. And in our survey, we found out that many of us have already had some experience with Google Forms, surveys, tests, quizzes. In all my courses in Africa, this element was highly appreciated because it can save so much time and it can be very helpful to keep contact with the students, especially with large numbers of students. It's extremely helpful to have an idea what the students are thinking, with what they are struggle, and where they have problems. As a repetition for all of us, I will go quickly into the functionality of Google Forms and try to demonstrate the benefits of it. But then, more importantly, I would like to invite any one of you who has already had some experience to share their experience and to talk about the difficulties or their experiences, the reaction of the students. So I'll give you an opportunity to talk about your experience, because actually what we are doing now is we are sharing our experiences and learn from each other. Now, you should now see my PowerPoint presentation. And yes, as I said, our strategy is now to form a working group, an experienced group that shares its experience, and we can learn from each other. And this is actually the continuation of our courses that we had in Moshi. Now, we all have actually, we are socialized. We have had experience as a learner and as a teacher with this situation. We know this very well. We know the advantages of lecturing as a very efficient form to transmit information, and we know its limitations. And to switch from this situation directly into a totally online is unthinkable. It's too demanding, and it's actually also not as efficient. That's why we are thinking about switching to this blended learning mode, where week by week we work in synchronous groups on campus, where we have face-to-face classes delivered by a teacher, maybe 2 hours, maybe I don't know, for introduction, for explanation, for lecturing, for discussions. You can also arrange, as you have done this before, via quizzes, tests, and it's an opportunity also to meet our students and to motivate them. Sometimes we can also use Zoom sessions to replace face-to-face gatherings. You can also try to ask them to do assignments where they have solved problems collaboratively, so they can meet on the campus in groups and work on certain tasks. And a second element of the blended learning format would be the asynchronous online learning, where you provide them material for their individual studies. They can do this at any time, You can give them a website with a course outline where you can give them recommendations, learning tips, where you can communicate when they have to do certain work. You can provide them on this channel with learning resources, videos, documents. You can also create recorded Zoom sessions, and you can ask them to do assignments, quizzes, and so on. This is actually what we call the blended learning format that can be adapted, flexibly adapted to different situations. But the main requisite is these two elements, the synchronous teaching where you are in contact with the students, and the self-directed online individual learning on a website. Here an example that we developed where Christian, as the lecturer, built a website where the students get access to all this information, to the guidance, to the learning resources, and so on, where he can use email to contact them directly on their smartphone and remind them, for instance, where they have live lessons, where they meet at the campus, and where he can also provide them with assignments where the students can learn on their own pace. You can imagine giving them, for instance, a recorded presentation where they can go through the material again and again. So this could be, for instance, a very mature form of the blended learning approach. But we don't think that we are going straight away into this elaborate form of blended learning. We would probably propose to start with certain elements. And what we are doing and what we are recommending today is exactly this, to use, for instance, Google Forms as a means to get more information. Because one of the problems with blended learning, where you have all the students in front of you for a certain time, and where a lot of learning is at home, with homework individually, that is the poor feedback. You convey information in a lecture, but only a few students might have an opportunity to ask a question, to respond to you. And this is then the situation. If they work individually, here, for instance, in a computer lab that was in Namibia, they work for themselves and they might find problems, and it's not always possible that the assistant can join them and clarify their problems. So they might get stuck. And it's interesting and important to have a possibility for them to join.
Hizo socks huanika upande huu.
Now, teaching
Unasikia?
in blended learning format is
Pale kwenye
just like flying through the clouds. You can't see very much. And this is in the beginning. I'm interested to hear that from you, but that was my experience. In the beginning, I was a bit helpless. I didn't know exactly where the students were, whether they were really actually with me, or if I had already lost them. I ask myself, are they still with me? I am advancing too fast or maybe too slow. They're bored. Do they have misunderstandings that prevent them from advancing? And this came up to the insight that also blended learning has a lot of benefits, more flexibility in time and location, individualized learning, much more active learning, not just passive listening, and easy access to learning resources. This works only if the progress of the learners can be monitored, where I can find out via quizzes or tests where they stand. It works only if I can collect learner support and if they have an opportunity to ask questions. And if I don't know how the students feel, because they have a real challenges to tackle, and if I don't know, I've lost contact with the students, progressing is very limited. Now, Google Forms is certainly a good solution to get more feedback. The easiest way is to make surveys with Google Forms. It's very easy if you go to Google Drive and choose Google Forms. It opens up, and then you can, for instance, you can then exactly tell what kind of survey you are doing. This is an example that of the survey I made with you when you registered. And then you can add questions. It's too slow if I would explain you step by step, but I will send you this link. There is a short 25 minutes introduction into how to use Google Forms as a means to create surveys. And if you are familiar with this, Google Forms can also be used to create quizzes and even to create tests that are self-grading. This here is a questionnaire with a lot of questions, and I can, for multiple choice tests, for instance, for multiple choice questions, I can give an answer key and even decide what kind of feedback I will give the students if they answer correctly or if they did a mistake. And I can also include into this test questions with open answers that the computer cannot grade. So once all the students have done the test, the teacher can go through all the answers and correct the open questions manually. All the rest, the multiple choice questions, can be easily corrected and graded by the system, and that makes it easy for you to do tests and correct them in a fraction of the time that you would normally use. If you want to learn more about these more advanced uses of Google Forms, I have here another link to a similar video tutorial. I would strongly suggest to do this and go through this and maybe also improve your competencies. Now, an example that Christian made in his psychology lecture, there was a large questionnaire about different aspects, for instance, about digital literacy, about their learning experience, and so on. It was answered by 840 people. So we got the record for 840 records in this data collection. It will be introduced automatically into a Google Sheet that you can also convert into Excel. And you could, as you know, with Excel, you can do a lot of analysis later on, but the system also allows to create a report by a button. And I also personally prefer to also create this analysis, this report automatically, and then add some more information that I can read out of these graphs. And so you see, this is a large document that gives enormous information about this large mass of students. If you create open questions, then I see it on the right corner down here, you can also collect all these responses of the students, and it can be highly insightful to read about what they feel about certain aspects of the course. By creating regular surveys with the students, you get a much better feeling of where the students are and can accordingly adapt your response and your lecture. Now, what can be used, the Google Forms can be used for different benefits. You can maybe want to understand better what the learners really need. You can improve by adjusting your lecture. You can improve your teaching effectiveness. You can, of course, also measure engagement and the motivation of the students. You can also give them an opportunity to explain their own feelings, their own experience. You can identify challenges early. I remember in one of the Christian's course, we tried to find out what are the problems of people that are blind or that have another limitation, and how can we understand and how can we support them. Then, as I said, in blended learning, it's especially important if you do this course several times, you can continuously improve by collecting these feedback information. Now, at the end of one of the courses at ZIBA, we did a statistical evaluation of the course, which can also be done where for every aspect, for instance, is the navigation clear, we could find out what was the response, the mean, the standard deviation for about 100 students. And these different analysis can get you a lot of information, and you can see how I can compare the results in week 2 with week 14 at the end of the semester. And then it gives you a lot of information to find out how to improve your course. You can also find out whether the students are happy with this kind of approach, because according to my experience also in Switzerland, once when they start, the students cannot imagine to work like this, and they are very skeptical in the beginning. And the more experience they have, the more positive is their attitude. Okay, Now, that was my introduction, my repetition of to put everything on the same page. But now I would like to give you the opportunity to share your story. What did you do? What were your problems? What were your experience? Also very interesting. What was the reaction of the students? And I'm looking forward to hearing from you what the
Lele.
experiences.
Thank you very much.
Please go ahead. Maybe Christian, can you take the lead now to collect the information experiences, because I'm also very interested in hearing how this approach works under your situations in your context.
Okay. Thank you, Ernest. That was really insightful. Thank you for sharing the summary of how this works. And I am also happy that you shared some of my experiences, and I can confirm that I have always done this, and now it's becoming a tradition. It's becoming a norm that every Sunday, every week, I have some quizzes that I offer to students. And maybe we can hear from participants. Maybe before we hear from them, I would like to share something that I was doing this week. You talked about feedback. Maybe if you can help me to share my screen, Ernest. Can I share my screen? Oh, thank you. Let me try to share. Let's see if I can share. So this week I was away. I was not in the university. So I gave them an activity. So maybe you can see here. Can you see my screen? I'm not sure. What do you see?
It doesn't work right now.
Okay, let me see. Let's see. So we. See. So I'm using mobile phone.
Okay.
Let me try again. No, I think it is not working. But what I wanted to show is that I gave them work to do. Let me see. It doesn't work.
Okay.
So I gave them a work to do. They work individually, and they also work collaboratively. So we have a textbook. So I give them the pages to read. So they will read, maybe I will share this in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
So when they read very specifically, so I give them a chapter and the task to complete. So they have both individual tasks, and they also have the group tasks. So what they do, they read, and for individual, they will not submit. It's just reading, but it's mandatory. But when I meet them, so I may meet them face to face, or I may not meet them face to face. It depends on for instance, for this week, for the coming week, I may not meet them. So what I will do, I will give them the live quiz. So I will share the link. So and I've been doing this. So if I'm in a class, they get on their phone. They go to the maybe week 5. They check the link, and then they get in. And remember, that's a class. It's not for the usual lecture. So I will ask questions from the part I gave them to read. So the assumption is they must have read. So this works very, very well because it actually forces them to interact with the material. So they interact with the book, they read. So you improve their reading skills. And if it's the collaborative assignment, they have an opportunity to discuss. And then when they come to the class, if I'm there, we can spend an hour to share. So they share their experiences, and so the quiz is within the lesson. And then this is what you were saying, Ernest. I will get feedback from them. I will know who read and who didn't, and if they read, did they master the material. So usually that is it could be 20 minutes. They complete the quiz, and then we display the results, because as you showed, you can always see the analysis. So we can see who got it right, who got it wrong, and that can form the basis of the discussion for another hour. So it's really interesting because you give them an opportunity to work individually. They read the material, they summarize, they grasp the concept using the guideline you have given them, and then they have an opportunity to discuss among themselves. And then they come in the class, they discuss with somebody who was not in their group. So you kind of have an opportunity to share the experiences. And then I test, I have feedback from them to see whether they really mastered. So that's an individual. Remember, I have a class of over 700 students. So this time I have 500. That's a manageable class, I would say. But then I can see the result within the lecture hour, and then we can get feedback from individual students, and then that can be an excellent feedback to guide our discussion. So I can go through what was difficult, and you can see this is happening live. No pencil, no paperwork, and the analysis is instant. I project the results, and then we discuss there. So you can see how you actually get information. You monitor every student. You know how they're doing, whether they understand in the real time. So maybe I will share this on a WhatsApp group later, and probably it might encourage
Yes.
all of us to try it. I understand the problem might be internet. The problem might be the mobile phone. But for my students, you showed the initial survey, where we asked them, "Do you have mobile phone?" So we are sure they have mobile phone. if you have mobile phone, do you normally have access to internet, things like that? So those who didn't, who indicated that they do not have mobile phone or the internet, we always find ways to support them, so they could sit with a neighbor with the device or the internet, and it works. Yeah. So I wanted to say that, Ernest, just to add on what you said. Yeah.
I just want to make a remark to this because what you say, you actually link what they do in their self-directed learning with what
Yes.
happens in
Yeah.
the social group. And
Yeah.
this is the crucial element because
Yeah.
that's so difficult for many students to
Yeah.
work on their own without having a contact with somebody. But once they realize what I
Yeah.
do now, for me privately,
Yeah.
will come up again at the lecture.
Yes.
The professor will have a look at what I have done. It will change the way of the course. That makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Emotionally also for the students. And what I showed you, this poor students who is exhausted and not motivated anymore, that makes the big difference of the blended learning. I mean, I have done also pure online courses, and I know how difficult it is and how much self-control these people need to go to follow up such a course. But this element of linking what they do privately with what they do socially is absolutely crucial and makes life so much easier for the students.
Yeah. And this is what I've been doing this semester. So this is my first time to do live quiz and live analysis. We project, they see, and we discuss based on what they have done, and I have seen this is really perfect. And when they maybe have a problem with the devices, sometimes they can do that in a group, so three people sharing the same device. So I don't care who answers, the issue is the response, what we have as a response of the group. So I really encourage, because I have seen really students enjoying this, and they really find it very useful. Yeah. So maybe if we can hear from any of us. Grace, did you solve your? Grace has left. Is not here. Grace was sharing with me yesterday, the day before yesterday, I think. She gave the quiz, and then probably she forgot to set the settings. Changed the setting. I think it had a bit of disturbance. I would really wish to hear from her, but she's not here with us.
She's not
So
with us anymore.
if we can hear from any of us, please. Any experience so far? Gloria, please, if you have something you want to share. Good luck. You want to say something? Dimi, Queen.
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, Queen, karibu.
Asante. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Myself, after the course where we met in Mosh campus, I tried to conduct weekly quiz in one semester, and my students were more interested. They're just like, madam, how do you, once we finish, you mark it already. How do you do that? They are very excited. They are enjoying the learning. And one among of the course where students prefer to attend, I think mine was one among of them. So they are enjoying.
I think
that's
Grace
good.
has joined again, huh?
That's good, Queen. How many times have you done that?
I think I was having 4 courses, and
Yes.
each course they are conducted weekly quiz, and I think for 11 weeks for each course they have conducted.
Yeah. That's great.
Very good.
That's great. That is really encouraging to hear that it works
Yeah.
in your context. Maybe we can hear from Grace. Grace, how was the experience the other day?
Grace is muted. Grace is muted. Can you switch on
unmute?
the microphone?
Maybe Gloria.
Kwa hiyo
Gloria, can you share your experience?
kumbe ulichelewa.
Okay, she's on another phone, I think.
Sasa
Good luck.
mimi sema
Dimi,
kwenye Google Form.
Grace,
Kwa hiyo nikisema
Miliana.
hapa na kiongea ndio nasikika. KX kisauti.
So maybe Ernest, if you can mute him, mute.
Gloria.
Yeah.
You want me to mute Gloria?
Yeah, I think she's on another phone.
Hapa chini video. Kwenye video kuna mute. Kuna mute.
Okay.
Okay.
I could. By the way, I also put into the chat the 2 links to these video tutorials that I was talking about. So if somebody wants to copy these links, you will find them in the chat of our Zoom meeting.
Oh, great. So, Ernest, it looks like that's it. If we can have a takeaway for the week.
Yes. Well, I think as we saw, some of you have already tried out and found it helpful. And I am absolutely convinced. Just try it out. Start slowly, start with small surveys. The students will be surprised, as we heard, and they will learn to like this and to give their proper opinion also. And I think let's maybe next Saturday try to focus on another element that can help you to make the experience of your students more rich, to be activated even more, and then let's see, step by step, we can create a learning environment that is much more and more the ideal element of a blended learning approach. So thank you very much. I will stop the recording and put this recording on on our WhatsApp group. So for everybody else who was prevented to have a look at it. So thank you very much. If you have a suggestion of what we should address next Saturday, let me know or let Christian know, then we can react and respond on your proper needs.
Yes, Ernest, and maybe for those who have not shared the link to their websites, we remind you to do so that we can see what you're actually doing. Yeah. But otherwise, it was a great meeting. Thank you, Ernest, for your insights. And I thank everybody for attending and sharing the experience.
Okay. Thank you very much for you all, and have a wonderful weekend. So we'll see us next Saturday. And don't forget, just raise your voice if you have a specific need that we should attend to next time. So bye-bye and thank you.
Thank you, Ernest.
Thank
Thank you, everybody.